test functions. So we just saw helper functions, and we wrote this code right here for ones digit. And we used it to create the larger ones digit function, and it was wonderful. But in fact, there was a problem, and we'll see both the problem and why it was very good for us to have created a helper function. It turns out our ones digit is broken, and we can figure that out by creating a test function, which we have right here, test ones digit, which is a function whose purpose is only to test whether or not the ones digit function itself works properly. For that, we'll use an assert statement. Assert is built into Python, and it means this should be true. If it's true, do nothing. If it's false, though, crash. And so then what you do is you create what are called test cases. Well, the ones digit of 5 should equal 5. The ones digit of 1, 2, 3 should be 3. 100 should be 0, and 999 should be 9. So then we'll call our test ones digit function, and we'll go ahead and run this code, and we see that it passed, which means our ones digit function seemingly works. But it doesn't work. The problem is there's a bug in our ones digit function, and beyond that, there's a problem with our test function, because our test function is broken. It actually is incomplete, and it's not testing the case that will demonstrate the bug. So here's a better version of our test function, because we didn't test negative numbers. When we add that case, and we go ahead and run this, we see, uh-oh, we just crashed. And indeed, the crashing is good here, because it means we found our bug. And let's look where we crashed. We crashed on this line right here, asserting that the ones digit of negative 123 is 3. So what's going on here? Well, it might be good to just print what is the ones digit of negative 123. And we'll go ahead and run this, and we see it printed out 7. Okay? So what's going on here? Well, what is negative 3 mod 10? Aha! 3 mod 10, sure enough, is 3, but negative 3 mod 10 turns out to be 7. So our problem with our code is that we didn't really understand what's going on with edmod 10 for negative numbers. There's a simple workaround here, and that would be to, before we take the mod, just take the absolute value of n. Now, if we get negative 3, it turns into positive 3. If we get negative 123, it's positive 123. And in fact, this code will work correctly, as it did. So we see that test functions are functions whose purpose is only to test another function. If you have a function foo, you should have a function test foo. You call your test function. It says, I'm starting to test. It has a bunch of assertions that hopefully are all true. And it says passed, which doesn't mean that your function's correct. It means your function passed all your tests. If you don't have good tests that are thorough, you can pass your test function and still have a bug in your code. So have very thorough test functions. And every function you write, you should write a test function. And this also, once again, points out how important it is to have helper functions, because we can test that code before we use it inside this other function. So helper functions and test functions are very important when you write code.